Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of, what show is this? Dr. Homebrew, where the only place that you'll ever hear me be semi-comfortable with what I'm doing.
And so serious.
It's so serious at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Not like in the bedroom, you know what I'm trying to say. Okay. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah?
I'm feeling that's just like uncomfortable pause time here. Yeah. No, otherwise, well.
Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
This is Dr. Homebrew. You're not mistaken. And this is Brian and Lee. Well, actually, that is Brian and Lee. And
I'm Brian.
This is JP. And we're here for another couple rounds of beers, man. We got some cool homebrews to try. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a good show. What do we have? A Foreign Extra Stout and a Saison.
That's right.
Saison.
Kind of polar opposites.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, we're gonna go. We're gonna go reverse order and just do the Foreign Extra right now.
Let's do that.
Why is that reverse order? I'm asking you, JP.
Why is that reverse? Is it a test or is it a philosophical question? Either way,
Saison could be pretty pungent and even a little tart sometimes. It could be.
All those phenols can wipe out your palate.
Yeah. Kapow. Alcohol.
You think so?
It's possible.
Well, depending on what comes after it, I guess. If you're gonna taste some sort of blonde ale after, then yeah, maybe, right? But
so your rule is dark beers second.
That would be my rule.
In a normal circumstance.
Right, but not in the surgical theater that is Dr. Homebrew.
Not in reverso homebrew, Dr.
That's true. Reverso homebrew. Reverso,
yeah, whatever. Yeah, usually you do the dark beer last, but...
Yeah, who cares?
I've seen some Saisons have enough phenols in them that a dry stout afterwards would probably taste like it's a Belgian dry stout. It would not work well.
It would just hang out on your palate for too long.
Right, yeah. Phenol, sometimes they'll do that.
Oh, man. That's terrible.
They'll just make a playground out of your tongue.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know what that means. Before we get too far afield, I want to let you guys know about our fine sponsor, the main sponsor of this show, and our close personal friends, the folks at 5 Star. They bring this show to you. They sponsor it so we can sit here and talk about playgrounds and phenols and all that kind of stuff. They are 5 Star homebrew supplies. Not homebrew supplies, 5 Star cleaning and sanitizing. Go to 5starchemicals.com. PBW, Star Sand, Sandy Clean, IO Star, all that kind of good stuff. They really make sure that you guys can make the best homebrew possible by cleaning and then sanitizing your equipment, all your cold side stuff, all that kind of nonsense. And if you appear on the show, they give you a little something in the mail. So they're good folks down at 5 Star. Yeah. They like what we do. We like what they do. And, every once in a while we have some coffee.
Hanging on my wall in the brewing garage is something that I got in a little 5 Star prize package. I don't know if they give these out with all of them, but it came with some PBW and Star Sand that I got for NHC winning a medal one year. And it's the 8 rules of cleaning and sanitizing. Have you ever seen that?
No.
This is pretty cool.
Brian's showing me this on his phone, but all I see is a dog licking What is this?
Okay.
That is gross.
Swipe back.
Oh, okay.
Tongue
Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the tongue playground you were talking about?
Yes, that is it.
Rude. The 8 rules of cleaning and sanitizing. You can only sanitize clean equipment. Dirty equipment will always contain bacteria. That was number 2. Number 3 is cleaners are not sanitizers. And number 4, sanitizers are not cleaners.
Yep.
5, the more heat and the longer the contact time, the better and easier the cleaning job becomes. I find that to be true.
Absolutely.
The hotter my water is in the PW, and it does the things. 6, do not overuse cleaners or sanitizers. Never think if a little is good, then a lot is better. That's what I do. Generally, a lot is bad. Higher concentrations don't always work as well. Yeah, I'm never going to listen to that one, so sorry. Number 7, cleaners and sanitizers can only do their job if they come in direct contact with the soils. And then number 8, always add cleaning or sanitizing chemicals to water. Why is that? Because you don't want to upset the laws of nature, or why do we have to do that?
Well, I think
you guys are smart.
That probably gets back to your basic chemistry, I think, or your I think it could splash up into your eye, maybe. I don't know.
That's what your brain is telling you?
It's the always add acids to water, not water to acids thing from chemistry. It's a little bit of water, a lot of acid might get a little hot, might get a little reactive, might do things.
I was in the bathroom smoking pot during those classes. I have no idea what that means.
Not doing acid?
Not doing
Rules
acid,
to live by, though, right there. That's right. I have it hanging right on my wall. And sometimes I read it. Other times I do pay attention to it.
The first rule of sanitizing is there is no cleaning and sanitizing.
Right. My name's Brian. I have a brain. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He has an iPhone.
He does have an iPhone. Okay, so what do we got? We got a Foreign Extra Stout from Jeremy. Jeremy's back in the studio. He was in here a couple shows ago. How you doing, buddy?
All right, doing good.
And then we have a Saison from Jacob, who will coming up in the next in the next segment. But what do you think? Let's jump right into this thing, huh?
Let's do it.
It's Foreign Extra Stout.
Should we pour it first?
Yeah, I think we probably should pour it.
All right.
That's a really good idea.
Crack that bad boy open.
See, it's his brain. He has a brain, Bev. And I mean, what are you going to do, you know?
I don't have any response.
People with brains.
I don't have a brain, so.
No.
I envy you.
You hear that, Brian?
I've tried thinking with other parts of my body before.
Wait.
It never worked out very well.
What?
Wait, I don't get it. What's a think? I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Yeah, look at that beer, man. That is dark and delicious. Jeremy, remind everyone how long?
Never mind.
Yeah, how long you been homebrewing?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. Man, it always blows me away when new homebrewers just tackle these giant styles like this right up front. Is that daunting to you? I mean, what made you go Foreign Extra right now?
Well, I was going robust porter, but
yeah,
I added an ingredient or two that kind of made it seem like a Foreign Extra. So,
so you upgraded.
Yeah. I think to me it's a Foreign Extra Stout. So
okay, what was the ingredient that you? So it's a robust porter base, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you?
Well, when I was getting my specialty grains, I had forgot my list and had a brain fart, and then I went over to a buddy's place and what do you got? Okay, and then it ended up being what it is.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I've had brew days like that.
Yeah.
You know, where you go, oh, this is going to be a great thingamabob, and it turned out to be a whatchamacallit instead.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh,
that's exactly what happened.
Fine, whatever. But for me, it's usually because I screwed up fermentation or got the wrong yeast or some dumbass move like that. You know what I mean, Bev? Whenever you try to go brew something and you go like, God, I just totally screwed that up, you know.
What?
Huh? Brian.
Yes.
Why don't you start first, man? Camera's on you already. We've anticipated this forever.
Yeah. You found me paging through the Jamil book there on the camera, looking for the Foreign Extra Stout recipe in there. This beer in the aroma has a nice, rich roasted malt aroma right up front. It doesn't seem in the aroma that it's going to be very sweet. It has a medium-low fruity esters kind of hiding in there amongst all the roasts. There's no hop aroma to be detected that I got. Has a low coffee-like element. It's really kind of a two-trick pony. There's the roast and the coffee. There's not a lot of funky treacle or molassesiness.
Yeah,
or
those weird deeper
tropically fruits. So as I was beginning to judge this, I started thinking export style Foreign Extra Stout rather than tropical. So that's where I went with this, and that's kind of what I judged it based on. And I didn't get any bad stuff. No diacetyl, no DMS or anything like that.
That's very clean.
Very clean.
Yeah.
It is, like you said, it's a deep, dark color. It's I would consider it, almost black. It's kind of between dark brown and black. It's not quite opaque. You can see through it, and it seems clear.
Oh, yeah, like a dark ruby or something.
Yeah.
Or is it darker than that?
It has it's very dark brown or black. It's pretty much black.
My glass was pretty much opaque. I could not see a flashlight through it.
I had the BN glass last night when I was judging it. I could see at the bottom of the glass. I could see some good clarity. But also holding it right up to
the
light.
I see. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Boy, it's dark in this studio here.
Well, it is that. No one wants to see me in full light. I haven't makeup yet.
Okay.
Has the curtain we ordered arrived yet?
There's a low tan colored head that faded after a brief while to a little collar on the edge there. Pretty fine foam bubbles around the edges of the glass. Flavor-wise, it comes across with a nice, rich, roasty and coffee and cream presentation. So in the flavor, you get a little bit of that. The complexity from there's a little bit of sweetness in there that plays off the roast and coffee flavors pretty nicely. Like I said, along the lines of an export version of this style. Very clean ale fermentation is apparent in here. Medium-low bitterness. Everything here is balanced to the malt and the roast. It finishes medium dry, just enough sweetness to keep it interesting in there. And, medium-low fruitiness. Was a little bit sharp in some ways, but it has a very strong lingering coffee and roast that sticks around the aftertaste. We might have got a little bit of a kind of a light minerally character to it, but it's not very sharply acidic. But there's a little bit of acidity in there from the grains. In some ways, even though it's kind of a lot of strong flavors, it also came across as seeming a bit watery. That might seem contradictory, but just the way it feels on the tongue, and it that's kind of mouthfeel too. It just feels a bit watery, but even though it's medium full body, and in the body it's medium carbonation, a little bit creamy, pretty smooth overall, not very astringent, just a hint from the roast, and a low clean warmth on the back of the tongue. Doesn't seem super strong, but it's got a little beef to it there.
Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying.
Watery?
Kind of watery. But not in an unpleasant way.
Not in a bad way at all, yeah. Just, I was trying to figure out what that was, and maybe Lee will have some comments on that for me too. But, again, a very clean export version of the Foreign Extra Stout. I can see now, too, like a kind of a beefed-up, robust porter-like flavor, but with more intense, definitely more intense roast. But it does have some elements of the robust porter, but it would not work as a robust porter at all. It's clean drinking and smooth. Some nice malt characters. I think it could benefit from even a little more malt complexity in there in the middle. Especially if you wanted to go the tropical direction with it, getting a little more fruitiness in there from the malts using and the yeast. I would avoid going too far that way, or it might become a little too much. If you had too much more malt in there, it might become a little more imperial stout-like. There's a nice balance of the roasty malt and the smooth, pleasing alcohol with a nice, strong kind of dry stout impression, So, if there were any mineral additions, you might pull those back just a little bit. It seems to lack that just a little bit of a punch you would get from that, and that might be, changing some of the malt flavors a little bit too. But I really liked the beer. I gave it a 37, and that was very enjoyable.
Pretty good. Not bad, right? Lee, what do you think?
Excuse me. Aroma, grainy base malt, cocoa, touch of ash, and just a hint of soy black olive kind of notes, probably a touch of oxidation. Pretty low level, though. It's not really anything I would worry about at this point. No hop aroma. Low fig raisin kind of esters, hints of sugar and coffee and cream and some tar in the nose. Low intensity aroma overall, but what was there was pretty much to style. It was pretty nice. Black. My beer looks opaque to me. I can't get a flashlight to go through it. Pours a medium tan fine foam that fades to a light cover. Probably could have a little better head retention to style, but no, the colors and everything are right. And, the foam was fairly fine when it was there, so it was pretty nice. Flavor. Sweet with dark coffee and cream roast flavors. An ashy note in the finish. Hints of caramel, sort of darker caramel malt kind of flavors. Bread. No hop flavor that I could really pick up. And good supporting bitter, pretty much out of the way. But no, it wasn't like it was what was needed there to make it balance out right. Balance is definitely to the roast and the malt. Finishes lightly sweet with some lingering coffee, a bit of that olive soy oxidation, a little tart, raisin fig, bit of a mineral character again, maybe carbonate. I wasn't sure, but definitely had some mineral character to it, and a low clean alcohol note in the background. Mouthfeel, medium body. Carbonation is probably medium low. It could use a little little more carbonation, I think. Some creaminess is struggling against all that roast character. It wasn't noticeably alcoholic. Did have a little faint, clean alcohol in the finish. It wasn't astringent. A little bit drying because it's a stout. They generally are because of all that roast.
Yeah.
And perhaps a touch of oxidation might feel into that too. Overall, it's kind of like a sweet stout or an oatmeal stout, pumped up a little bit to foreign export stout levels. Had a bit of that coffee and cream, some sweetness. That was pretty nice. They work nicely together, especially with a little bit of the darker fruit flavors and a little bit of the sweetness there was in there to make a very interesting, enjoyable flavor profile. If I had to pick whether this was an export style or a tropical style, I would probably stick with the export. It wasn't otherwise specified, but it is on the sweet side, sort of verging over towards the tropical, but it wasn't as sweet as a lot of those go. I mean, some of the foreign exports are pretty dry. They're almost like a beefed up Guinness. And this was definitely sweeter than that. It probably wasn't out of range, but it made me sort of stop and wonder which way I should put it based on that.
What would be a tropical export?
So, yeah, a tropical stout.
Okay.
Foreign export in the 2008 guidelines is kind of has two subcategories that aren't formally separated out.
Okay.
There's the foreign export and the tropical stout. And the foreign export is basically like a big dry Guinness, and the Guinness actual export stout is sort of is a good example of that. The tropical ones are things like Lion Stout. What are the others? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Just more
Dragon Stout from Jamaica, I think, is a good one, and they tend to be very sweet and estery. Very nice beers, actually.
Okay, maybe like a British ale yeast or something like that.
Yeah,
with
high mash content, maybe
yeah.
even some lactose, some fruity esters. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, very, very big, sweet, rich. You've never had one?
No.
JP.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to find you one somewhere. They're nice beers.
Okay.
Maybe we should do a commercial calibrator on one.
Jamaica
of those someday.
Stout,
That'd be great.
Royal Extra Stout.
Yeah.
ABC. Extra.
Oh,
Yeah,
you should have said Royal Extra Stout. Everyone knows
There you
that
go.
one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Finish was a bit dry, had a bit of a drying character to it, not the usual roast malt quite so much. I wouldn't say it was really astringent, had an almost metallic note to it. And what I'm not picking up here, what you get in most stouts, is a little bit of acidic character from the roast malts. So I'm kind of going back to the comment Brian had between a little bit of metallic and really no acidity, whether maybe there was a little bit too much mineral in here. I mean, we'll find out from Jeremy soon. But it seemed to be lacking that little acidic underlining that a lot of stouts have. Nothing like a sour beer, but usually they got a little bit of some roast malt acidity underneath.
That's part of the punch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious about what you did for mineral adjustments in there. Other than that, I think the carbonation was probably a touch low. Usually if I'm going to bottle condition, I want to make it go good. I make sure I use fresh, healthy yeast and put it up after I bottle it, put it up to 65 to 70 for a couple of weeks just to drive those little buggers to finish off. But it's not bad. I gave it a 32. I thought it was a pretty decent beer. It was a nice job.
Yeah, thanks.
Got any questions for these handsome people?
Hey.
No, I think they're. I mean, I agree with everything that was said. So.
Yeah. How could he go about shifting that kind of watery?
Did you do mineral additions to this at all?
Yeah, so I did gypsum chalk, 1 1/4 teaspoons. Yeah. So
Gypsum or chalk?
Or gypsum.
Gypsum. Yeah. Oh boy, interesting.
Why is that?
Well, if anything, that's probably going to drop the pH. It's calcium carbonate that raises it.
Okay, and so raising what would that do in this?
So dropping
beer?
the pH would make it taste more acidic.
Even more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even more acidic. So
And this has an acid.
It's actually the thing you usually don't want to do to stouts. Where stouts are traditionally brewed in very carbonate, chalky waters, which is very alkaline. So the acid that's in the roast malt balances that out well. Is your regular water source pretty minerally or carbonate?
No.
No? Huh. Interesting.
You just kind of threw it in there.
Well,
I do that.
I think I'm wrong here because I think I was this was end of the day, so my notes are kind of. So I have chalk. So
that would be carbonate.
Yeah, so I think that must be what it was.
The chalk.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
That would make sense, yeah. Maybe a little less next time. I don't
Gypsum
know.
is calcium sulfate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or wallboard.
Yeah.
Break into your
get tempted
drywall
with that,
if you run out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have chalk. I don't know why I was thinking gypsum, but
Yeah.
yeah, chalk. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. So do you want to know the recipe or?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
please
So
do,
it's
man.
13 pounds, 2-row. The ingredient that I didn't have was the black prins, and that was a half pound. I ended up borrowing some of that. Roasted barley was a half pound. Crystal 40, 10 ounce. Crystal 80 was 5 ounce, and chocolate was a 1/4 pound.
That Black Prince, that's like a debittered wheat malt, roasted wheat malt, isn't it? Or something like that.
Hey, I don't know. That's what he had, so I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
We'll use it.
Yeah, go for it.
Dehusked.
And then the hops, Kent Goldings, Fuggles, and Kent Goldings at Flameout.
The classic British stuff.
Yeah.
Good.
Basically going out of the book, kind of mixing things up.
Yeah. That was a good
And then
house
the yeast was repitch of 001,
Okay.
and the gravity was 72, and then it ended at 10. I was hoping it would end a little bit higher.
Yeah, it dried out very nicely with the yeast that
Yeah.
it had. So, I mean, that's what gave it that dry Irish stout impression.
Yeah.
Yet a little stronger, a lot stronger.
Yeah. So that was it.
Cool. Interesting recipe for sure.
Yeah. The mash temp was 152.
Okay.
So I don't know if that.
Yeah. Probably just your repitch of your yeast. I mean, it was obviously clean and happy. It just kept going. Like, hey, we'll chew through this stuff. We'll keep going.
Yeah.
What temperature did you ferment at? Do you know?
62.
62. Okay. Yeah.
So you had said this was originally supposed to be a robust porter.
Yeah.
What were the things you added to make it a foreign export? Or that you changed?
The black prince and the crystal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
More crystal or less?
More.
More. Okay.
I
Interesting.
think I I was looking at the Brewing Classic Styles, and the Crystal 80 on the Foreign Extra is more. So
Yeah, it's got some 40 and 80 in it.
I was thinking I could have bumped that up a little bit more.
Right.
It's actually.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just
Yeah, well, the
going
black,
for
the
it.
black adding some Black Prince into a porter will definitely take it into stout territory.
yeah.
quite
So
quickly.
that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have some chocolate in there too. You said?
Yeah,
Or-
just
yeah.
a 1/4
bit.
pound.
Yeah. That's a pleasant drinking beer. If you like
Yeah.
drinking it this way, it's nice. You might just back off that chalk addition the next time, and maybe try using a Irish yeast or something with it if you want to go that direction instead of the American. Like it does have some elements of American stout, but kind of beefed up and not as hoppy as a lot of American stouts. So it's a little bit of an oddball that way. There's not a lot of yeast character here. The esters are pretty subdued, especially since you kept the fermentation temp so low. It could be, you could go a lot of different directions with this, but it's definitely a nice beer as is, fun to drink.
So how could he tackle that watery thing? We started talking about
The thinness.
we started talking about mineral additions,
I
but
think the acidity, a little less mineral.
okay,
will do it.
that's what it was. Okay,
I think that's getting the carbonation up a bit would help too. I think.
okay.
Yeah,
No malt,
I've been
nothing-
having issues with the bottle conditioning, so next time I'm gonna keg it and force carbonate it. And then,
That can help too. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, always use a nice fresh dose of yeast. I mean, usually if I'm going to bottle condition, which I don't do very often, but if I'm going to, I'll save a little extra of my. I'll do like a starter culture, and I'll just save 10% of it, and just keep it in the fridge, and maybe bump it up a bit before I'm going to bottle condition, and then use that.
of
to
the
bottle
slurry, like
condition.
10% of that slurry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so what I've been doing is I rack it off, I bottle it as it is, and then with the sugar mixed in, and I expect the yeast that's in suspension to, but this might have been too clean.
It usually does. Sometimes with the stronger beers, it'll take a little while longer to really do its job. So,
It might finish out yet. Yeah, and you can't always count on the yeast that was in the primary ferment to do the job well. I mean, sometimes it'll do great, and sometimes it'll just conk out on you. I think that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Good
knowledge. You have a kegging system at all? Or Yeah. I mean, that's the easy way to go. You can get it right where you need to. Of course, it comes with its own set of challenges. But.
Well, yeah, like when everything's filled, my kegerator's full and fermentation chamber's full.
Throw something in bottles this time, yeah.
That's what happened.
That's cool. That or drink faster.
Yeah.
Call your buddies over. Hey, I need to empty a car.
Yeah. Inventory clearance party.
More parties, man.
Everything must go.
Cool. If that's it, I mean, you got all your questions answered, and
I think so. I
covered pretty fully.
Yeah, I've been tweaking some stuff. I just got into the whole pHing the mash and the adding the chalk and acid. So I'm working on that.
You're on your way.
Yeah.
Are you going to do this again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I entered this in a competition. I entered, one as a robust porter and the other as a foreign extra, and it did a lot better as the foreign.
Than the robust.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I would see that
between the two.
The foreign export, you would expect to have a lot more of the darker, ashier character.
Okay.
In the roast, that's the main thing. Robust porters might have more hop presence, but it's really not necessary. Which will be competing against that. Yeah, it's basically sort of the chocolate versus ashy, coffee, darker kind of divide.
Because in my mind, it's like robust porter is pushing up against the stout already.
It is. So there's a fuzzy line between them. And,
right.
You weren't entirely wrong to enter this in both categories. Mm-hmm. I would say this would definitely do better at the foreign export. I would figure that's what the judges there thought too. But some beers can really straddle the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
I also think maybe that like a London ale yeast or something would give it a little different flavor too, and that might be part of what's not coming all the way through. That might give it a little more interesting flavor complexity in there too, because the English yeasts are a lot more characterful, and playing off those dark malts, they're going to have a little more interesting flavors in there, a little more esters playing with that. And I agree with that carbonation comment too. It would definitely, CO2 in water is an acid, carbonic acid. So it does help to give it a little more punch too. But again, I'm repeating myself. I'll shut up.
It's all right, Brian. We won't hit you too hard during the break.
Let me go back to that watery part I was talking about now.
Yeah. How do you fix that? Because, all right, well, Jeremy, thanks, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
And we're going to take a break. And we'll get Jeremy a beer here.
All right.
And then, a non-homebrew. And then we'll be back with a Saison from Jacob. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Back after this.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew. a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highgravitybrew.com. For nearly 40 years, one organization has had your back. The American Homebrewers Association. Are you a member? Why not? Join the more than 40,000 brewers who enjoy all the American Homebrewers Association has to offer. Like Zymergy Magazine, in print and online, plus the Zymergy app. Zymergy is the leading publication for amateur brewers around the world. Supporters also get member deals at their local breweries, bars, and homebrew shops. These alone quickly pay for your membership. You'll also get great member-only resources at homebrewersassociation.org and access to AHA events like the National Homebrewers Conference and the National Homebrew Competition. The American Homebrewers Association promotes the hobby of homebrewing, protects the interests of homebrewers, and brings beer lovers together. Become a member today. It costs less than a batch of beer and gives back so much more. Visit homebrewersassociation.org.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Now, back to the examination.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's Dr. Homebrew. We're about to crack open this Saison. This is a Saison from Jacob, our listener, but I think he's having technical difficulties and unfortunately will not be able to be joining us on the air. But that's okay.
Unless he figures him out.
Unless he figures him out. But that's all right. We can blabber on, in good form altogether. Those of you listening live or watching live, the live stream, I think, crapped out. So Bev is... I had to put a helmet on her because she was beating her head against the glass. It's up now?
Yeah, it said that you have a problem with your internet connection, blah, blah, blah. So,
Oh, okay.
I'm going to try again.
You got a problem. I don't have a problem. My internet
You
connection's
have
great.
several problems.
What are they? In order.
Let's not
of
talk about them
importance.
in front of mixed company.
Mixed company?
Yeah.
We're all white. It's fine. What?
Inappropriate.
Okay, sorry.
Are we going to do a 3-hour show tonight?
We're going to do a 3-hour show. I need to fill time.
Show to discuss all JP's issues?
That was 45 seconds. I'm just trying to fill time. A Saison. What do you think about this Saison? Lee, I think it's only fair for you to go.
How is it fair?
Because, I don't know. That's a good question.
Do we know anything
Too many
about
questions.
the brewer?
All right.
Did Jacob tell you
His
anything
name is
about
Jacob.
No. Actually, maybe. Here, I got my thing right
We
here.
want to learn about Jacob first.
I got my thing.
How long has he been
on-
brewing?
So,
How about you pretend to be Jacob and I'll interview you? So, Jacob, how long have you been brewing, buddy?
This is a imperial version, apparently. This is a 9% Saison.
oh, now you tell us.
Yeah.
That
Sorry,
explains
guys.
a couple things.
He used California Select 2-row, 2% white wheat, and Sriracha Ace hops.
All right. And what yeast?
Does not say. I'm assuming it's Saison.
Saison yeast. So.
But there are many.
There are many.
Yes.
They are legion these days.
And he would like us to really focus on identifying off flavors.
Is Jeremy local around here?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Jacob.
Jeremy is local.
Jeremy
around
is
here.
local.
He's
Yes.
sitting right here.
Jacob did not put the state for his address.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's fine. All right.
We'll
So what-
assume he's from Alaska.
Yeah.
right.
Too far away.
All right. Saison aroma. Medium low phenol note with a smoky note to it, a little bacony. Low lemony ester, medium low pilsish kind of malt character to it. Some stone fruit esters, a bit of a mineral note as it warms up. It seems pretty well to style, although on the low end for esters. The smoky phenol isn't the one I would declare the most optimal for style, but it's okay. It wasn't very intense. Appearance, a medium haze in my first pour. My second pour here, we judged this earlier tonight. Second pour seems quite clear. So I think my first glass probably had a little bit of some yeast in it. Pale gold color, pours a medium white, mostly fine foam, which fades to a light cover fairly quickly. Probably could have better head retention for Saison, and it seems fairly well carbonated, so I don't think that's the issue. Flavor, medium phenol level, spicy, slightly smoking bacon character again to it. Low hop spiciness, medium bittering. Malt is bready and supporting. Lemon esters, sort of medium intensity again, maybe medium high. The esters came across in the flavor more than they did in the nose. A little bit, a touch of a stone fruit ester as well. Balances to the phenols and the hop and the spicy characters over the malt. It's definitely fairly much spice forward kind of beer. Finishes almost, but not quite dry, with lingering phenols, some bitter, some mineral character to it, and a little bit of that bacon, and maybe a little bit of kind of a warming, maybe more than warming, sort of a slightly hot or solventy alcohol note in the finish. For the mouthfeel, I got a medium-low body, medium-high carbonation. Actually, with this bottle, after we poured it and we're halfway through our score sheets, it's kind of becoming a slow gusher, putting a little bit of foam up out the top.
Slow gusher.
Slow gusher, right. Can you play that song?
Take it easy.
Okay, there we go.
Slow
The beer wasn't.
gusher.
All right. Not alcoholic in particular, although there was a touch of solvent to this. Not really astringent, but some drying from the phenols. Overall impression, a nice, almost dry Saison with a good balance and pleasant drinker. The smoky phenol character is not what I would call optimal, but it's not really uncommon in homebrewed phenol Saisons. That kind of smoky, bacony thing I get fairly often. If you want to get rid of that, probably try a different Saison yeast strain. Other than that, I'm not really sure what to do about it. Other than that, it had a little bit of a tart note, which is very appropriate to the style. Not much, but just a little bit of acidity underneath it, which helps this style balance out properly. The mineral note was maybe a bit high, although not necessarily out of style. Actually came across kind of a bit like some of the De La Seine beers on that note, which are very mineral-forward beers. If you want, add a little less mineral addition or blend in a little distilled water to reduce it. But actually, it kind of works. It's just a slightly unusual touch. And for the carbonation, make sure... Oh, sorry. Carbonation. I wrote that down wrong. For the head retention was a little low in this beer, at least in these glasses, which is interesting because in the bottle that was the slow gusher, it just wouldn't stop coming up. But, if you have the option, if you're doing a protein rest, don't overdo it. 10 to 15 minutes at 120, 235 tops, or add in some wheat malt to bring that up. Should do it. Don't overdo a protein rest with this stuff, especially with modern malt. It's all pretty well modified.
Or don't boost your beer up to 9% and call it a regular Saison.
Yeah, the higher alcohols could cut the head back too. They don't tend to play well with foam.
Yeah, this beer should have a nice, long-lasting head for sure.
Yeah. The high alcohol. So we didn't actually. I believe received the information. This was a 9% quotes imperial and quotes Saison when we judged it. Given that, the alcohol presence is actually pretty minimal. It didn't come across like a booze bomb.
Yeah,
it did still have a bit of that solventy edge to it. It wasn't too bad. Brian picked it up way more than me. I pretty much missed it until he told me to go back and look. And there's a little bit there. I was pegging it as something else, but it doesn't come across as a booze bomb. Anyways, Brian,
you know it does seem to come across like a Belgian Golden Strong Ale. You know, in some ways, like one of those alcohol delivery mechanisms. Well, you can tell the alcohol's there. But in this one, it is a little hotter than you would get in one of those. Not quite as smooth,
alcohol.
But a lot of things, the same things that Lee said here in the aroma. You know, that orangey, lemony, citrusy ester thing. And now that I know what the hop that's in it, it's kind of an interesting choice there. You know, instead of using a classic, noble hop in the beer, just throw in some Sriracha Ace and keep it interesting. That'll play along with that lemony, orangey thing in there a little bit, and it apparently kind of does. I mean, it's not strong in the hops at all. Very, very low, hops in there as it is. So, but the fruit characters that I did get, the oranginess was coming across as kind of like orange pith or kind of like older orange peels. It's not like that fresh, bright orangey. It's a little bit staled maybe. But that's the character that's coming across up front is those fruity characters.
Yeah, I get it. Like when you'll peel a tangerine and then leave the peel out, and then the next day you kind of come and it's like it's sort of hard. But I got that.
The dog won't touch it.
So
it's covered in peanut butter.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of the kind of Belgian yeast character, the peppery spiciness in there. The malt is kind of a medium low. European and Pils malt kind of character in there, just kind of supporting and delivering that alcohol.
It is perfumey that way. I like that. Yeah.
Low, kind of spicy, earthy, and fruity hop note. I guess I'm assuming some of that fruit might be coming from the hop. No DMS or diacetyl, but it does. It's like, hi, alcohol. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
Is it me?
Thank you. Keep that going, please, in the background while I'm reading the rest of this. No. Color-wise, it had this light kind of... Lee held his iPhone light up to it. It had this greenish tinge to it. It was seemed like a day-glow fluorescent greenish yellow.
Kind of Gatorade. That was the first pour that was hazy. The second pour is very, very clear.
I agree with that, too. Yeah. I got some haze on the first pour. The second one is very clear. Started with a low white head that faded really quickly to a little collar and an island in the middle, but it was easily roused too, so you could tell it was fairly well carbonated. In the flavor, sharp citrusy esters dominate again, and it had a hot solventy alcohol presence, kind of a medium-low level. Not sharp and killer, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, it's not offensive.
Yeah.
It's there, and you go, hey, how's it going? And that's about it.
Threw it a little out of balance. Not as soft as I'd expect it to be, and cakey and smooth. It's balanced to the esters and alcohol, definitely, and it finishes fairly dry. Only a hint of this, maybe a little tartness in there. You can get in some of the saisons. It's not super acidic, just a tiny hint of that. Medium low bitterness. It seems to have, I don't know what the fermentation temp was. Do we have notes on that? It seems like a high temperature ale ferment. Sometimes you have to use a high temp if you're trying to keep this yeast happy, because it's notoriously finicky, the saison yeast. But you can start lower and ferment up a little higher and keep it happy longer, or you can, if it peters out, you can always throw in some other yeast like good old Jamil recommends in there. Or even he suggests in his book you can use champagne yeast. Maybe that's how he wins all those awards.
Champagne yeast. He doesn't get any flavors.
You got to be,
whatever.
Unorthodox sometimes to get the beer to go where you want it to go, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, that alcohol really lingers in the aftertaste, and it is kind of perfumey and a little solventy. Body wise, it's medium body with a fair amount of alcohol heat pervading the back of the throat, but not overly intense. It's also very effervescent, and that kind of maybe adds to the kind of attack. No creaminess, just a tiny hint of astringency. That's okay. But overall, again, it has a lot of the pleasant elements you want in a Saison, the nice fruitiness, the right kind of fruitiness, the right kind of spiciness from the yeast. It's just getting a little bit overpowered by that hot alcohol in there. So work on coaxing all the good flavors out of the yeast, but keeping it happy to avoid the few undesirable ones. And also, this was judged thinking it's a regular Saison, and it is maybe an imperial Saison. Saison goes up to about 7%. This one's 2 points higher than that. So, yeah, especially with that, you want to use a really vigorous, strong, healthy, vigorous pitch of yeast, big starter, and
big starter.
Yeah, keep it going. This one dried out fairly well. It didn't do too bad on that front.
And if you give it more time, it'll probably dry out more if it's not already an older beer.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like an older beer.
The recipe seems appropriate. The ingredients appear to be fairly, the malt and stuff, fairly authentic, fairly good. The hop, I don't know, is maybe a little unorthodox, but it's a really minor component in this, and it's playing along with everything else that's there.
It plays well.
So that's fine. I gave it a 27. Just for what it was. It's a little off-style for a Saison. If I was judging it as an Imperial Saison, I'd probably give it a little higher score, maybe 5 points up. But, yeah, nice beer.
I gave it a 51. I forgot to tell you.
51, oh, yes.
31.
Let's pretend that you judged it as an Imperial, because that was my fault. I didn't tell you that.
The one thing I would say about this beer, especially if it is younger, and we don't know that how old this beer is, because we don't have Jacob here to quiz us and get quizzed.
Yeah.
With the higher alcohols, the sort of hot solventy thing, if you give it some time, some months, maybe years, and sometimes Saisons will age well, some of that might actually mutate and get converted into some esters, which actually can make a very nice addition to this beer.
Okay.
That's where some of the higher solventy alcohols, you'll get some of the rose-like and flowery kind of esters in some beers. And if you give this some time, there's some live Saison yeast in there, they might actually convert this over. I don't know how much time it would take. It's not going to be a month. But, months or years, you might get that. And at that point, that might be a much more pleasant beer because it would take away the solventy and give you all these interesting floral kind of aromas.
Bottle this up and put it down.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just chug this down and you're happy with it, go for it.
Right.
But I think it would be worthwhile to at least set a few bottles aside for a year and see what happens to it.
Can that alcohol hotness clash with the kind of yeast phenols?
Yeah, I think
because there's some kind of odd, strange sharpness that I'm getting, and I think it might be those two kind of things.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. So it's just the little solventy note in there, and the phenols, and some of the esters that are pretty bright in here too. They're all kind of playing together.
Alcohols can have kind of a peppery, hot, warming impression like spice, and so those two things together can give you a double whammy in some ways.
Yeah, so I think they're all kind of playing together and giving you this kind of interesting, oddball, slightly off kind of profile to this beer.
Is this a kind of a style that can go that high? I mean, 9% Saison.
Oh yeah, I've had this high and higher. The Avec le Bon Vue.
The Belgians do whatever they want.
That stuff's 9.5%, if I recall, or more. And
I love
the
that.
Yeah,
that one's real good.
That one's French.
Right.
See, Jeremy knows.
None
he
of them
had
are
that.
free.
Yeah.
In general, they don't have the solvent thing going.
Okay.
But not that I've noticed anyways. So, the yeast should be able to go this high. If you want to push it this high and avoid that at the beginning, do all the classic yeast health and pitch rate things, and you should be able to get there.
Not that they can't go this high, but should those two things go together? A Saison with all these phenols and a high alcohol. I mean, in my opinion, like a Belgian, Belgian stouts don't go together, or like Belgian IPA. That's not a style that goes together. The yeast and the hops for me,
some beg to differ, but
don't work.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Strong Golden, which has tons of alcohols, dry as light as hell, and has some phenols.
But not spicy phenols like
this.
this.
It has some, but yeah. And the triples, which have much more phenol. They're not quite as dry, but they've got the alcohol. Works very well.
Yeah.
So, phenols and alcohol can work well together.
Okay.
Yeah. But you probably, as always, are better off with a cleaner alcohol.
Right.
If you get a little bit of heat in the beer, I mean, if it's too much, there's nothing you can do. If it's a little bit and it's a good aging beer, try aging it. See what happens.
Okay.
It might convert into some better things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be more of the solvent versus the pepper that's fighting a little more than just the smoother parts of the alcohol. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's the clean alcohol that's playing poorly here.
Okay.
You're going to have, solvent plus pepper is like Pine Sol or something, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how they make Pine Sol?
I think so. I think it's just bad homebrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does a great job of cleaning your floor.
That's why they tell you not to drink it.
They buy JP's leftovers.
Yeah, they do. What?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Well, Jacob, thanks, man, for sending that beer in. And I'm sorry you couldn't be with us tonight.
Decent beer, though, Jacob.
Send another beer in sometime and
please
get
do.
on that Skype.
Please do. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up and get out of here. It's Dr. Homebrew back after this.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com. Attention homebrewers, if you like making labels for your handcrafted awesomeness and wish more people could see how great you are, then check this out. GrogTag, the makers of custom reusable labels, and craftbeerandbrewing.com are hosting the first ever National Homebrew Label Awards. The top 10 labels will be featured at the 2015 National Homebrewers Conference in San Diego to more than 5,000 attendees, and more than $2,500 in prizes will be awarded. If you've created a label at any time in the past year, you're eligible to enter. GrogTag and Craft Beer and Brewing have teamed up with great sponsors like More Beer and the Brewing Network to make this competition a great one to enter. Submit your entries between March 1st and June 1st for your chance at fortune and glory at homebrewlabelawards.com. That's homebrewlabelawards.com. Submit your label entries today. Good luck, and we'll see you in San Diego. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, thanks for sticking with us here, everybody. We're going to wrap this up real quick, and we're going to scram. What do you think? I'm excited about it. Okay, so we had the Foreign Extra Stout, and we had Jacob's Saison. And so what we're doing right now is we're giving away from our sponsors. We have some prize packs. From GrogTag. You go to grogtag.com for customizable labels and coasters and metal signs and all that kind of cool stuff that every homebrewer needs. They are ponying up a $40 gift certificate for the brewer with the lowest score, because their tagline is, of course, at least your beer will look good with grog tags, and it's a whole fun thing, and everyone laughs and it's a good time. So it doesn't mean anything.
They do metal signs too. I always think of them just for the bottle labels.
Like on the other side of the door, the Be an Army little tin tacker.
They do those?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I've got one in my garage. It's pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool. I wasn't aware of that.
See, they do bottle caps, too. You can get custom printed bottle caps and coasters and hang tags, like for wineries and shit like that. Or even for, your homebrew, you got a little hang tag. You know what I mean? You know what a hang tag is? Do you know? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, a little cardboard thing.
Do they do, dog tags, too?
They don't do dog tags, no.
Okay, I can get those engraved over at the pet store, but that's all right. But yeah, a metal sign would be very cool too if I didn't need bottle tags.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the gift certificate, the $40 gift certificate to the runner-up in today's pseudo semi competition is Jacob and a Saison.
All right.
Woo! It's pretty good, which means that Jeremy here wins the prize pack from High Gravity. You can go to highgravityhomebrew.com and check all their lovely stuff out. They're a great new sponsor of ours, and Desiree over there hooks you up pretty good, man. Nice. You'll be stoked.
All right,
for sure. What did you win last time you were on?
5-star.
You got the 5-star, but you should have gotten to something else too, right?
I haven't gotten anything.
You got the High Gravity Homebrew again. Look at you, man.
Okay. Oh,
all right.
2-time winner.
Double up.
All right. Hey,
Two-time
do we have
winner.
to applaud for that?
I seem to remember.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Good job, Jeremy.
He's brought some good beers. Yeah, we'll invite him back.
You're brewing some stuff, man. Okay.
Some good stuff without even peanut butter on it.
Jacob emailed me. We had some.
I had a peanut butter beer.
We had some
last weekend.
cross wires.
Yeah, there's one going around here. God, who is it? It's the
what?
Who's doing the peanut butter porter that's floating around here these days?
I don't know, but they need to stay. Well, welcome to 1998.
Actually, has a really nice peanut butter character too. Yeah.
No, I disagree. I don't know. I don't even know what it is.
I was thinking it was Ballast Point, but I'm not 100% sure. And I probably just insulted someone by saying that. I'm sorry.
Well, I told them welcome to 1998, so I'm sure they'll take issue with that more than anything you guys said. Anyway, thanks a lot, everyone, for hanging out with us. Jeremy, thanks to you for coming all the way in and sharing your lovely beer. And Jacob, sorry we missed you, man, but thanks for sending the beer. It was delicious. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks to the BJCP for releasing new guidelines.
That's right. We have new guidelines that we should talk about at some point.
There's a lot to dig into, so I'll be reading that for a while. And
please do, man.
We'll talk about it sometime down the road.
Yeah, thanks to 5-Star, of course, for putting this whole thing together and keeping us going. We really appreciate that. And thanks again to High Gravity Homebrew, and thanks again to GrogTag. You guys are taking care of our homebrewers here, and we really appreciate it. Until next time, everyone, see you later.
Yeah, it's Track 7 Peanut Butter Porter.
Track 7,
That's
everyone.
There we go.
Yeah.